Guys, I have been daily driving the Oppo Find N5 for 11 days now, courtesy of the Average Dad Tech store. Again, thanks, Michael, for that. And today, at long last, it is time to not only render my full review, but also tell you the answer to the big question, am I keeping it or am I sending it back to Michael? So guys, I'm going to try to run through the big things as quickly as I can. From the hardware perspective, this device is absolutely phenomenal. When you put it side by side with the Pixel 9 Pro Fold that I was daily driving before, the difference is fairly noticeable. More so than any other foldable phone I have ever used, this thing feels like a normal phone in your hand or in your pocket. That is, in fact, so true that I think it was yesterday or the day before. I got up, was walking around, I think I was going to a store or something, and I literally thought that I had forgotten this phone. I thought I had left it somewhere. That's not to say that it's so light that you could easily forget that it's in your pocket, but when you've been used to having this in your pocket, this is so much thinner and so much lighter that actually happened to me. And of course, it's not just the thickness of the body. That camera bump also doesn't stick out very far either. There have been some sacrifices made there that we will talk about a little bit later on in the video. But again, by and large, this thing, the hardware, is absolutely phenomenal. If you're talking about the Z Fold 6, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, or the OnePlus Open, nothing really even approaches this device. And when you open it, that stays true. That is my broken in crease, okay? Like, look how narrow that is. And then you can't obviously feel it, but it is also very, very shallow. We'll do the same thing here with my Pixel 9 Pro Fold. And don't get me wrong, I'm not super bothered by this whole crease situation. But you have to admit that what they've done here is impressive. It is so hard to see. And of course, that inner screen is absolutely enormous. The Pixel 9 Pro Fold was the biggest folding phone that I had, and this thing absolutely dwarfs it. The width is very similar, but it is obviously a little bit taller, and that does come in handy at certain times. Quickly though, let's take a look at how the screen brightness on this device compares to the competition, the Z Fold 6, the OnePlus Open, and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. All right, guys, we are looking at 4 different foldable devices on a very bright and sunny day. We have the Oppo Find N5 here, the OnePlus Open up here at the top, the Galaxy Z Fold 6, and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. All of these should be hitting their absolute peak brightness. Now, it's always hard to get this to be picked up through a video like this, but to me, to my eye in person, it appears as though the Galaxy Z Fold 6 is looking the brightest right now. I would say that the Pixel 9 Pro Fold does look to be about the second brightest. The Oppo Find N5 is somewhere around third place, and then the OnePlus Open is actually already dimming a little bit. It's looking like the dimmest of the bunch. But like I said, this is hard to pick up on video, so let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think the Oppo phone is holding its own pretty decent. Samsung is still just undefeated in this department. And now looking at the cover displays, same positioning as last time. It does appear to me as though things are very similar. I'm going to say the Z Fold is the brightest. These two, the Pixel and the Oppo, are very similar. And the OnePlus is maybe falling behind just a little bit. I need to go back and look at my earlier footage when I compared the brightnesses of some of these foldables. I don't remember if the OnePlus device performed this poorly or not. All I can do is show you what it's doing right now. Again, let me know what you think. Granted, it's only been 11 days, but we can at least briefly talk about how this thing has been holding up. I've had the little case that it comes with on it for the most part, but that only covers the back, and it covers this part here, this one side of the rail, so nothing too crazy. I have not seen any visible scratches on the camera bump back here. Of course, the rails and everything look absolutely fine. I'm not seeing any scratching or anything like that on them. The inner display to my eye does look quite pristine, although I do expect, just like my OnePlus Open, that you're going to start to see some wear in this region where I tend to swipe the most. The only thing I can say that has been negative is on this cover display. Let me open up an image that's mostly white. This should be the best place to see it. Let's see if I can. Yeah, right there. Can you see those little micro scratches right there? And there's quite a few of them. They run all the way up the length of this device. And I was wondering, it's like, what am I doing that's scratching the screen protector on this cover display. And then I figured it out. That handy dandy case that I said that I actually liked quite a bit that came with it is actually scratching the cover display, because what happens is you have this area here that's magnetic. It attaches to the spine, the hinge of the device. And when you open it, it slides across the screen, and coincidentally, that is exactly where those scratches end. So that's just something to watch out for. Luckily, it does have a screen protector pre-installed, so it's just scratching that screen protector, and it's something I can mostly ignore because I know that it's superficial. I could replace the protector if I wanted to, but that's kind of a little oversight for me. Something else that does bug me a little bit with this device are the speakers. When you get this thin, you do have to make some sacrifices, and the speakers are a place where that has happened. There's just not enough room in this device to truly have great speakers. They also put the speakers on the same side. So one's up here and one is down here. So when you're holding it like this, you only have left channel audio. Samsung does the same thing with the Z Fold, and it drives me equally crazy there. The Pixel 9 Pro Fold has a speaker down bottom right and one top left, and what that means is you have stereo sound no matter how you orient the device. But beyond all that, the speakers on the Oppo Find N5 just don't have the same kind of clarity, punch, bass that you had on the OnePlus Open, and I think that the Pixel 9 Pro Fold also tops it. So we just talked about the speakers and how going for such incredible thickness meant that the speakers had to be downgraded a little bit. Similarly to that, we have to talk about the cameras. When you think about the cameras on the OnePlus Open, how far they protruded from the back of the device, and then you think about how much thinner this device is than the OnePlus Open, you have to consider what that camera bump would have been if they left all the same camera hardware in place. That bump would have stuck out a couple of miles. It would have been very, very hard to use. So with the Oppo Find N5, every camera sensor on the back of this device has been downgraded. It is a smaller sensor. What is the result of that? Well, in my opinion, the result is the cameras have been downgraded in terms of performance. Now, don't get me wrong. The primary camera is going to be able to give you some pretty darn nice shots. You just have to keep a couple of things in mind. Like a lot of Chinese OEMs, they are leaning very hard into artificial brightness and to artificial sharpening. They really, really like to boost both of those things a lot. And in shots that are like portrait shots, photos of my dogs, it does seem like more often than not, it produces shots that look really unnatural to me. It looks like I took a normal photo, I went into my editor, went to my different sliders and just started cranking different settings up, clarity and things like that, cranking them all the way up, and that's kind of what you get. Now, the good news is, you can go into your editor and you can turn some things down and make it look a bit more natural. But like I said, certain shots, you might go, wow, I thought there were shadows here and now there aren't. Or, wow, that looks really, really overly sharpened. Or, wow, that's not what the colors, the contrast, the darkness, the highlights, that's not what any of that look like in real life. It has its own style. You may like that style. I think a lot of people will. For me, it's not my favorite. Now, even though I do think it's not as good as it was on the OnePlus Open, I still am enjoying that 3x optical zoom, having the ability to have a mid-range zoom option that can also extend up quite well to 6, 7, 8, even, close to 10x is very, very useful. On my Pixel 9 Pro Fold, 2x looked okay, but 3x, 4x, up to 4.9x looked pretty bad. 5x looked pretty good again. This kind of gives me that mid-range back, and I definitely enjoy that. And I think that portrait shots look very good on this device. And of course, portrait modes always look better at a 2 or 3x zoom. That focal length just works for portraits better than 1x. But that telephoto also has a secret trick up its sleeve, which is the ability to be used as a macro camera. This is a proper tele macro, and it is really, really good. I have been having a ton of fun taking these nice close shots. You can punch in really, really quite far and get very detailed shots that have a lot of natural bokeh. This is probably my favorite thing to do with the Oppo Find N5 camera right now. Your mileage is going to vary. How useful you're going to find that is going to be up to you, but I absolutely love it. Oh, and there's this ultra-wide camera that is a tiny sensor with a low resolution, and it looks pretty not great. Wish they hadn't done that, but it is what it is. It's there. In terms of the software experience, I really don't have any major complaints. This is essentially the exact same experience as what I had on the OnePlus Open, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, although it is kind of funny that some of the same bugs present on the Open are absolutely present here. If you go to edit one of your icons with a custom icon pack, you're going to run into that same bug where you can only scroll so far through them. If you're in your app drawer and you click on a letter, you're going to run into that same bug where sometimes it just doesn't scroll to the appropriate letter. It's just odd, but it really does feel exactly like the OnePlus Open. And again, that's more good than bad. I love the fact that we now have, it's not called open canvas here. It's called boundless view, I think is what it is on Oppo devices. But it's great. If we open up an application like Threads and we do our two-finger swipe down, that's still awesome, still works really well. There is Discord on that other side. Let's click up in the top right and expand Discord out. That works just as well as ever. I can still pull up my taskbar and drag another application in. Here's Firefox. We'll do that as well as a third window. Got some severe weather coming this weekend that I was just taking a look at, and all three of these applications can be expanded out, which is fantastic. You can grab your smart sidebar and launch another application. We'll just do Amazon because it's right there. Drag that around. 4 applications here running all at once. It's extremely flexible. I like that they have added some AI stuff to your smart sidebar. There's your AI summary. It's going to scan a page here on my website, and it's going to give you a quick summary for that. It could read that text for you off in a decently normal sounding voice if you wanted to go that route. If you're in a text message, you can pull out the smart sidebar and do an AI smart reply. It's going to scan the screen and say, here are some options for how you could respond to this person. There are some things that I do wish were here, things that I miss from my Pixel devices. Like you can use Gboard to do voice to text, and I do this all the time. I hate typing on a touch screen, so I will just talk to the phone as often as I can. But what I found is it's not quite as accurate as it is on my Pixel devices, and I really, really wish that I had that proofread option here that would just correct any errors, add punctuation. Man, that was so extremely useful. I've spent time trying to use SwiftKey because it has something like that, but I just keep coming back to Gboard because the voice to text is better on Gboard, and I just can't get away from how it already kind of knows the things that I type, the customization there, years of use. I can't seem to get off Gboard, but I do wish we had that proofreading option. Or hey, maybe they could just make their own proofreading option in the sidebar, something like that. So there are some AI features, and by and large, the things that they have added are pretty decent. I would like to see them continue to catch up with the Googles of the world. Of course, though, you do have, hold down your power button. You have Google Gemini. You can do all sorts of cool things there. Their Photos app is actually pretty cool because it can sync with Google Photos. So if I delete something here, it's deleted from my cloud Google Photos account and vice versa. And they've added quite a few of their own little features here as well. So there's actually a reason to use the built-in gallery app. Crazy, I know. Let's go into AI Editor and let's just do AI Erase. We'll just try this out. They have their own AI eraser. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to circle around my wife and my dog, and we'll see how this does in real time. It snapped to the outline quite well. It's going to take a couple of seconds here, but there you go. There's the end result. That is pretty darn impressive. So they've got their own Magic Editor clone built in here, and you can see it works pretty darn well. What about increased clarity? Like if you have an older, kind of lower resolution photo, this is going to upscale it, and it's going to improve the clarity. This is probably not going to be a huge difference here because this image was already pretty high resolution. Yeah, if I do the compare there, you can't really see a whole lot of anything because this was already a good photo. But if we take a photo like this that's kind of really zoomed in and maybe doesn't look all that great, look at the before and after there. Hey, that did a pretty darn good job. I would say that the after is an improvement. So overall, there is a lot to like about the Oppo Find N5. The hardware is just top notch. None of the other competitors right now in terms of, Samsung and Pixels, those sorts of things. None of them can compete with what Oppo has pulled off here. It has a camera system that, while it's not my favorite on any foldable device, I can get by with it. It's not going to cause me any great pain. It's just going to be the case that occasionally I'm going to need to go and touch up some of the photos and bring some shadows back in a little bit, dial some of the things down a little bit. The speakers, kind of a similar thing. They'll be a little bit annoying, but by and large, they are fine. Even things that I thought would be a problem, like using Mint Mobile on a device that had to be imported, hasn't really been a problem at all. 5G works fine. And in fact, I've only ever had one time where I haven't had proper signal, and I was inside a Walmart. And that's a building that a lot of my phones have had issues with. Granted, this was a little bit worse than I've seen for a while, maybe missing that band 71 just a little bit. And your mileage is going to vary on how badly you need band 71, the buildings that you're in and the place that you live. But for me, it's really not been an issue. Got the phone, put in my SIM, and set it up like any other phone. The software is still very, very good, right? The multitasking is still top notch for me. There are things that I love about this software, whether it's Oxygen OS or Color OS, some things that I really like. I find myself using that little AI summary option on web pages quite a bit as well. It's a phone that I enjoy using, and because of that, I have made the difficult decision to keep this phone. Just this morning at time of filming this, I have sent my payment over to Average Dad Tech, and it should be officially now mine. If I could steal my camera system, or I guess the camera processing maybe from the Pixel and maybe the speakers from the OnePlus Open, this would be undoubtedly the best foldable phone that I have. But even without those two things, I think I can make a really strong case that this is still the best foldable I have. Not saying it's the best in the world, because I haven't tested all those other foldables from Honor and Vivo and so forth. But of the ones I have, again, strong case to be made. It is an absolutely phenomenal device without any major weaknesses, okay? So the things I pointed out, I don't consider to be major weaknesses, just places where things could have been a little bit better. So guys, that's my review. That's what I think of the Oppo Find N5. There will be some links down below that if you wanted to purchase one, you can go and do that. One of them will be to the Average Dad Tech store, because that is where I got mine from. So as always, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content just like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.